It was terrifying.
Yeah.
I really liked him a lot, and he liked me, which was great. My dad died after like 3 months of being there. He was wonderful to me. But I have one amazing story. It's a little long.
Please tell me the story. I don't care how long it is.
All right.
We all want to know. The Matt's over there shaking his head up.
It's a great story. It's the ultimate Andy story. Okay. So I'm just hesitant because usually if you talk about Apple on some level, it comes back to you in a bad way. And we have a great relationship, and we're obviously going to be doing things with Apple. But I had to show Steve what the ads were going to look like. And we were the high-end ads, the beautiful ads, using all their technology, HTML5 and all these things like that. And he wanted me to show him examples. So my first meeting, I came in, I said, this is the type of stuff we can do. And I showed an example from Sears. And I showed an example from McDonald's, and I showed an ad that we mocked up from like a hardware store or something. And it was trying to show that, hey, if it's 32 degrees in Chicago, our software would recognize, or it was about to snow, that we'd put the shovel ad up, right?
Wow.
And so I got in about 10 minutes into the ads, and everyone's laughing except for Steve. And I'm like, I'm fucked. Something's bad here.
Yeah.
And so Steve's like, I'm going to leave for a second here. Could you guys all explain why we're going to kick Andy out of the room, and I'll be back to save me some time? I was like, okay, sure. So he leaves, and they're like, dude, you can't have Sears. Sears is a brand that's going out of business. McDonald's is like childhood obesity and a shovel. Steve is all about the high end, the beautiful. You got to come back. You got to do things, better. This has to look better. I was like, oh, okay, I got it. So I come back the next week, and I got my new ads, and I got a little better brands, and they're, they look okay. And I put the first one up. I can't remember what it was for. And he's like, no, we're done here. I was like, why? He's like, these are ugly. These are stupid. This is not what we're doing here. One more chance. I'm like, can I get some feedback? He's like, no, you should figure it out by now. He was getting annoyed. So I came back a third time, and I showed him this ad. We stayed up. He's like, I'll give you 2 days.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't build an ad in 2 days, something beautiful. We stayed up all night. I had everybody all night working at all this stuff. And I come in, I put the thing up. I don't say a word. He's like, no. I said, Steve, I literally said, Steve, what the hell, man? What am I going to do here? He's like, this is awful. He's like, I don't know who you are. Do you have any design sense? Like, what are you doing here? What are these brands? I said, you bought an ad network, not an ad agency. I don't have a group of designers here. I don't have, amazing artists. I don't have motion graphic. I don't have anything. I got a bunch of guys from Boston who are scrappy enough to put a company together that suckered you into buying it. I literally said it like that. And he's like, you know what? Fair. I appreciate you talking back to me. He's like, come into my office. Never been. So I come into his office, and
what is this office like? Can you tell if you can?
Sparse.
What's that mean?
He was a minimalist.
Yeah.
He had boxing gloves of Muhammad Ali. He goes, set your stuff up.
I have a boxing glove from KSI.
Look
right
at that.
There.
Same thing. KSI, Muhammad Ali, right? So he's like, I want you to set up. He asked his guy to come in and set my computer up on in his desk area and make a presentation one more time, basically. And he's like, I'm going to give you a couple guys a little bit of advice. Da-da-da-da-da-da. You come in and present. So I come back, and I'm all set up like in his office on his desk with his shit around. And I go to present, and I get through the first one, and he's like, okay. And I go into the second one, and he's like, I've had enough. I've really just had enough. I'm done here. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I don't know whether to fire you or to help you. I said, am I capable of being helped? Like, I tried to be humorous, which wasn't working. He's like, this is what we're going to do. Presses a button, and he says, get me Hiroki Isai. Hiroki was a skateboard kid from Cupertino who interned at one point years ago with the design group in Apple, and he created something, and some design or artwork. And eventually everything got presented to Steve, and Steve didn't want to see the VP who presented. He wanted to see the kid who made it. He wanted to see the engineer who designed it, right? So he saw Hiroki stuff. He's like, holy shit, this kid's amazing. Who is this? Bring him here. And he became Steve's confidant. He became Steve's design guy. Like, everything had to go through Hiroki. So he brought him in, and Hiroki's cool as shit. I fucking love the guy. He's like, this is Andy Miller. He has no fucking clue what he's doing. You need to take him back to your group. He was the marketing communications group, and make me 3 or 4 ads and see if you can save this guy's job. And Hiroki like winks at me. He's like, okay. And Hiroki leaves, and he's like, and so Steve's like, what are you doing here? I was like, what do you mean? He's like, get the fuck out. Get out now. I was like, okay. So I have my bag and my shit. He's like, no, get everything. Just get out. I'm giving you like no time. I want you to run down. I didn't even know where the Marcom place was.
Yeah.
I had no idea. And Hiroki was gone. So I'm looking around. He's like, I'm in my office. You have to leave. So I'm like, all right. So I'm like, I got my bag, and I'm taking just wires. I'm all set up. They're taking my shit apart on a laptop, like, mouse, put everything in my bag. He's like, are you still here? I have work to do here. Like, you've wasted enough of my time. I'm like, fine. I was like, could you tell me where he's like, just get out of my fucking office. So I go outside, I got my bag. She's like, yeah, everyone's waiting for you in the Marcom. I was like, could you tell me where that is? She's like, okay. Apple's big. She's like, go down here. Blah, blah. I'm running. I got my bag. I got my everything. My phone's ringing like crazy because all my guys who've been up all night want to know how things are going. Ringing. I don't touch it, right? I go into the Marcom group. I'm like sweaty now because it's hot down there. And I open the door and they're like, you Andy Miller? Like, yeah. They come back here. I go into a room the size of the hex quarters. There's like 40 people in there. No exaggeration. And Hiroki's like, dude, we've all been there. You're going to be fine. Put your bag down, have some water, take a deep breath. Show everybody, I'm going to show everybody what you did. And they all laughed. He's like, this is what we're going to do. I look around and there was already 4 ads on the wall. There was a Target ad, there was a Nike ad, there was a Mini Cooper ad, I think, and something else. And I was like, okay. And Hiroki's like, these are the brands Steve likes. These are the brands he represents. Dyson. He just, the Dyson to drive. Like, he liked their design. Yeah. He's like, this is what you have to start with, and then we have to incorporate elements and features of the iPhone that you could use, like the gyroscope or whatever. I was like, oh, this is great. And these guys are going, they're motion graphics guys and the best in the world. I'm like, this is everything I want. I'm just sitting back. I'm like, you guys are amazing. I love you. They're asking me questions. Bzz, 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 phone ringing nonstop. First, I think it's my wife saying like, how'd it go? Because she knew this was like my last shot with him. And then I'm like, it's my guys. And Hiroki says, please just put your phone down. Like, we got everyone's attention. Ringing. So finally, there's a knock on the door about half an hour later because I never pick it up. And it's the woman who runs the group, the executive assistant. She comes in and she's like, is there an Andy Miller here? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, Steve Jobs on the phone for you. And you haven't picked up your phone. I was like, okay. She's like, yeah, but before you pick up the phone, he sent 2 people over to see you. I was like, okay. Door opens, 2 police officers. They come in, and I'm like, what the hell? And they're like, here, it's Steve Jobs. Please pick up the phone. And they're right next to me. And I'm like, I'm in front of like 50 people now. I'm like, hello, Steve? And Steve's like, what are you doing? I said, I'm with Hiroki. And he's like, where have you been? I said, you told me to go to Hiroki. I ran over here. He's like, I have one question for you. I was like, yeah. He's like, why did you steal my laptop? I was like, what? He's like, you stole my laptop. I was like, I didn't steal it. He's like, look in your bag. I look in my bag. I'm like, fuck.
No.
I was so scared.
Yeah.
I took his laptop.
Yeah.
I took his mouse and I took his mouse pad.
You stole Steve.
I stole Steve's.
Okay, look.
Dude.
I know you know this. You saw what happened to the guy that walked out with that phone and left it at the thing?
I do. I was shitting myself. So he's like, tell me why you stole it. And I said, because I'm an idiot and I was scared. And Hiroki's like, Steve, I've been with him the whole time, which he hadn't been. He's like, he didn't. He's like, I want to know if you copied, if you took it. I was like, I didn't do anything. I swear to God, I didn't do anything. I was like, I'm going to get fired. Like, this is a disaster.
From Steve's perspective, and I'm not pretending to understand the genius. If I'm him and I'm like writing you as hard as I am to make you the best you can be, and you're under sort of the impression that I might fire you because you're fucking up in my eyes. You may be great, but you could go be great somewhere else.
True.
Right? I can see why, like, he'd be like, oh my God, I'm about to fire this. This dude's probably trying to get some dirt on me on, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I understand. Like,
intensely private guy. Like,
I'm
never even allowed in his office ever. That was a fluke.
This is the dude that never got a license plate on his car and paid for it. Bought a new car every 3 months so he wouldn't. So, all right. Yep. So that's insane.
So I was like, I'm an idiot. And everyone laughed. I said, Steve, I swear I didn't steal it. So I look in there. He's like, he goes, all right, I got you. She's like, give it back. So hand it over to the officers. So I reach in my bag. I take out the laptop. I give it to him. I reach in my bag. I look around. I take out the mouse pad. I give it to him. I look in my bag, and there's his mouse. And I'm like, that's all I got. Because I thought I was going to get fired. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm keeping his mouse.
Yeah.
So I still have it in my house now. I should have shown it to him when he came over. Yeah, I got it in my house. I'm keeping Steve Jobs' mouse. That was it. So that was a story. Meanwhile,
you know what my collection of things needs? Steve Jobs' mouse.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
No, let's not. You keep
How
that.
How funny. Yeah. So
that's
and
nuts.
Then those guys made the greatest ads, and we came back and I presented it, and Steve was like, "Great job.
Yeah.
Today you're an Apple person. Now you understand what we want to do," and that's what he wanted. You know, that's the way he taught, and the guy he could do anything. He was brilliant.
Jesus, man.
It's
imagine
terrifying.
just it's like the responsibility to be Steve Jobs. Like, it could not have been easy. Imagine waking up every morning, looking in the mirror and be like, I'm Steve Jobs.
Imagine waking up every day and not liking 99% of what you see because you felt it was inferior or you could do better.
Is that not me, Matt? Matt told me today that I need to put something up there that says what? Never satisfied. But it's not that. But I mean, people like that are the ones that change the world.
They do. Everything they look at, they're like, oh, why is this desk? Why is the wood like this with the grains? That's so cheap. Like, she should have put one large swath, like everything, which is why he, was a minimalist.
That's why he changed the world too, right? Because he didn't like any. That's look, as much as a pain that must have been, because you can't like being unhappy every single. And I'm not saying unhappy in the terms of like that, but sadness. But seeing something and seeing like the design of this Manfrotto tripod, and you're like, well, I don't like the way that it curves to the side. Why isn't it lined up? It looks like it's gonna...
Imagine getting that in your head, being obsessed about it.
Yeah.
I can't claim that I knew him as well as others, but that's the way he looked. He just looked at things differently. He thought differently. Thus, the ad campaign, think different.
Literal genius.
That's how there are people like that out there. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
That's so awesome.
Exhausting.
Well, listen, thank you for sharing all that. I think this is by far my favorite podcast already, just because of the story alone.